Hi, this is Payal Agarwal. Namaste.
Hello, welcome back. Namaste, this is Payal Agarwal from Kolkata with yet another recipe for you. Today we are going to make something which is very different. In India it is used a lot, though it did not originate in India, but this ingredient per se is become very common. So today we are going to use tapioca, and we'll make it's a mishmash. So we are going to make it in an Italian style. We are going to make it with pesto. So as we go along, we'll talk about the ingredient. It's a fantastic ingredient. It originated in Brazil, and then it became very popular in South America, and now of course all over the world people eat it. And it's a very starchy ingredient. I will just show you. So this is what the raw tapioca looks like. If I'll just take it in my hand and show it to you. These are dehydrated tapioca balls. Okay, so dehydrated. So what you do is you take today, like I've taken half a cup, and it does fluff up, drink up a lot of water and become almost 3 times its volume. Okay, so what we do is if I am taking, suppose, half a cup of tapioca seeds, these granules, balls, so what I do is half a cup of that to double the amount of water. So if I am taking half a cup of tapioca, I am going to take 1.5 cups of water and soak it. It does take around say 3 to 4 hours to drink up the liquid. So what I did was I put the tapioca, I put the water, and I let it be. After an hour and a half or so, you just give it a mix like so that you know the one sitting below can come on top and the ones on top can go down below. And see now how spongy it's become. I'll just show you. It's drunk up all the liquid, and see, squishy. Can you see? It's all squished up. So that is what we are looking for. So this is our rehydrated tapioca. Tapioca you get in these in this form, in granules. You get it in flour. You can make tapioca milk. People who are lactose intolerant can make very nice shakes out of this. So I will keep talking about it as we go along. So today, pesto di tapioca for you lovely people. And of course there is a surprise. I will be making something at the end to show you how we can use tapioca in different ways and make your life easier. Okay, so let's begin. Pan on, heat on. Okay, so now oil. Now of course it is completely up to you to choose whatever veggies you want. Pesto already has a lot of flavor in it. So how I've made the pesto also I will tell you. So the ingredients: oil I have put to heat up. I have taken a small onion diced. I have taken some green peas, my frozen green peas, which I have put in water so that they can thaw a bit, and that's green peas. I have taken diced potatoes. 1 potato I have taken and dunked it in water, as I told you. Otherwise it will become black. A little bit of green chilies chopped up. Green chilies of course is optional. Please feel free not to use it at all in case you don't want it spicy. I have taken a tablespoon of spinach puree, though it is not necessarily used in this recipe. But since I am putting the pesto, and spinach, as I told you, has a neutral taste, so why not a little green? This is how you have to cheat your family members once in a while, to give them a little green in their food. So I am cheating a bit today. So a little bit of spinach puree. I have just taken the spinach leaves, washed it, put it in the microwave so that it wilts, and then put it in the processor and made a puree out of it. That's it. So that, coriander leaves of course chopped up, and a bit of spring onions just for the garnishing, the greens. This is my pesto. which I have made at home, which I will tell you. Of course, you can buy it at the store, very readily available all over the world. So pesto you can buy from the store, but it is very, very easily made at home. So just give it a try, and you can again put it in a jar and put it in your fridge. Nothing goes wrong with it. Use it as you please. And a little bit of peanuts, which we will crush, and we will use it in our recipe. Okay, so I'll tell you how I made the pesto first. I took basil leaves around say 20 in number, and I took around 10 garlic cloves. Okay, I'm saying it slowly so that people can write it down if you want to, though the recipe is in the comment section. Please refer to it. So 20 leaves of basil, 10 cloves of garlic. I have taken one green chili, one singular piece of green chili, again avoidable completely if you don't want to. Traditionally, the pesto is made with pine nuts, which is a little difficult to find in India. So locally, you do get peanuts, almonds, walnuts. These are the three nuts which you can substitute with it. So today I have made it with peanuts. You can of course use almonds. Peel the almonds, soak it for at least 4 to 5 hours, and the outer peel, the brown peel comes off. Take that off and blend it with the basil and the garlic. I have used peanuts, okay, and a lot of olive oil. So what you do is you take all these ingredients, so the garlic, the basil leaves, and the green chili and the peanuts, okay, and you put it in a blender. And if you have one of those blenders which has a nozzle or a cap on top which detaches, keep drizzling the olive oil while you are churning, okay, or put in half a cup of olive oil and churn till it completely emulsifies and becomes a nice smooth paste. If it's not very fine and smooth, that is also fine. It can be a little granulated. That is fine. That is not a problem at all. And use the pesto. Your pesto is ready. So that you can keep in a jar and keep it away, and use it with your pasta, use it on pizzas, use it like so with tapioca, use it with rice, use it with your flat noodles, use it with anything. Use it on bread just to make a pesto, and put tomatoes. Pesto and tomato sandwiches to die for. So multiple uses, okay. So easy enough, nothing really technical about making pesto at home. So please do give it a shot. So now the oil is nice and hot. So in with the onions first. Onions go in, okay, and then the potatoes. Now tapioca is a plant-based root vegetable, you can call it. It's derived from a plant called cassava roots. Cassava. Okay, so the roots of that plant give out this starchy kind of material, and that is the tapioca, and then it's dehydrated and made into these balls, and you do get it as flour. So we give this potato and onion a mix, and just to help it, little bit of salt. I'm putting half a teaspoon as of now, and then we will take it from there. Okay, just give it a mix. So in the recipe, in the comment section, I have written 1 cup of tapioca and 2 cups of water. That is to soak it. The recipe, because it has drunk up so much of water, the tapioca, you don't need a lot of water in the recipe per se. Okay, so just a dash here and there. Basically for the potatoes, we need a little bit of water so that it can cook. Just help the potatoes to cook. That's about it. Otherwise, you really don't need too much water in this recipe. Okay, so little bit of water going in now, just a dash, as you can see, and we cover it and we let it be. Okay, so now tapioca I was talking about. So people who are unfortunately suffering from any kind of intestinal problems, IBD, IBS, ulcerative colitis, tapioca is a fantastic ingredient for them. A, it's gluten free. It is starchy. It has simple carbs, which is very, very easily digested. It has a lot of iron. It has a lot of calcium. It does not have any fiber, and thus putting in little veggies so that we can give it that fiber boost. Okay, so this is pure starch. Pure starch is easily digested by the body and the intestines. It doesn't need any effort, and it is excellent. If you buy tapioca flour, you can mix it in water, make a batter, make pancakes out of it, make dosa out of it. Soak this tapioca like I have done, like I showed you, and what you do is you put it in a blender, put ice cold water, and you blend it, and you'll get this starchy kind of paste. Put it in a sieve, run it through, and you get the tapioca milk. Put a whole lot of chocolate powder in it, put sugar, and your chocolate shake is ready for people who are lactose intolerant. So tapioca milk again is a very, very good substitute for people who cannot tolerate milk. Okay, so tapioca can be used in a lot of ways. I will be talking as I go along. In India, we make it as a khichdi, we make it as a upma. So the recipe that I'm showing you, if you want to make it Indian style, you just put the onions and potatoes like so, put curry leaves, put whatever vegetables you desire. You can put carrots, you can put beans, you can put peas, as I am going to be using. Don't put the pesto, put curry leaves, put salt, put a little bit of turmeric powder, put the tapioca, give it a toss, and your upma is ready. The khichdi similarly, 1 cup or half a cup of tapioca soaked, and half a cup of half a cup of moong dal soaked, the yellow lentils, yellow peeled split lentils. So that you take soaked, and put some ghee, put a little cumin seed as tempering, or mustard seeds as tempering, whatever you want, and put the tapioca, put the moong dal, put salt, put turmeric, and put the lid, put a lot of water, and let it simmer. It will become like a nice porridgey kind of consistency, and put a little coriander leaves on it. Eat it with achar, or eat it with this thing that I showed you, the ginger, the fermented ginger. Yum. So see how as we were talking about the entire world becoming a small little global village, and it's actually true, something which originated in Brazil and was only found in South America at one point of time, the entire world is using it. And we as Indians, when we are fasting, we have certain days in Hinduism where we have to fast. So tapioca is eaten while we are fasting. So this is one grain or one vegetable or whatever you can call it that we can consume when we are on fast. So we do use it a lot. So have you seen how food has no boundaries, and giving food, making good food, sharing food, and so sharing food is like sharing love. Like love has no boundaries, food has no boundaries. So cook, share, and it's a happy moment for everybody. Okay, so we'll just check on the onion, potatoes. Let's see whether they are done. Now, little bit more. It will cook for around 1 or 2 minutes more. Now today's drink is refreshing. You can call it a mojito. You can So I've taken some watermelon, and I have thrown in a good amount of mint leaves in it, and I have put a tad bit of lemon juice, little sugar, and a pinch of rock salt, and I gave it a nice whack in the blender. So that is what we have here. Last time when I was blending away, I'm sure you all got a earache, so I didn't do it today. I've just blended for you, and I've kept it here, as you can see. And now we will pass this through a sieve like so. Here's my sieve, like this. Okay, and a bowl beneath it to catch all the juices, and we do put this mixture through. Okay, once that is done, you keep nicely, give it a nice squeeze and shake so that all the juices are out of the mixture. And mint and watermelon again is a very good combination. A fantastic salad, I'll tell you. Cut watermelon into cube sized pieces, tear up a few mint leaves, and if you get hold of feta cheese, take feta and break them into small bite sized pieces also. And the way I had told you to ferment ginger, ferment onions in the same way. So take onions, slice them thinly, and put a little bit of salt and little bit of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar, and let it sit for at least 2 to 3 hours. You'll see it turns pink and translucent and sweet and sour and salty all at the same time. Put that, give it a toss, put a little extra virgin olive oil, and your fantastic summer salad is ready. Okay, so again, easy recipes, done in no time. So if you are cutting up a watermelon, make a salad, make a mojito, and keep some back if you want to eat it at when it's very very hot and it's ice cold from the fridge. It's like a dessert. It's amazing. Oh, pips are just flying away here and there. Oh God, had it, I tell you. This is what I don't like. Then cleaning up. Oof, pips flying away. I tell you, really. Anyway, so that is done. I'll just show you. So mint and watermelon juice is done. We are going to just put this aside for the time being until the time we will check on the potatoes. Okay, so I think yes, it's done now. Okay, it's done. Now at this point, see, nice and soft. Okay, so done. Now we put in the rest of, so we put a little bit of green chilies, just a tad bit, because I have put a little in the pesto also, and this is completely avoidable. Just don't put it. Go ahead and put a little bit of pepper, okay, if you want to. Little bit of ginger grated I have kept, so I will put a little bit, though you again can avoid it completely, but it does give it a nice flavor. So try it. And I told you, ginger, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, helps you with the cold, helps you with the cough. So these are nice things to keep using in your daily food, daily diet. Okay, now what we do is with the, just let this be covered for some time till we just pound our peanuts. So mortar and pestle, and in with the peanuts, and give it a nice bashing. Okay, so bash, and again, peanuts full of folic acid, very very high in protein. So can you see how we are trying to balance out the nutrients, because tapioca has only iron and calcium, and it is pure starch. It has no fiber. It has very very minimum, like almost negligible amount of protein. So what we do is we try and put ingredients in it which will make it a complete meal. Okay, and of course people with IBD, IBS, as I told you, people who are struggling with any kind of intestinal disorders, just make the tapioca with your onion and potato and you're sorted. Okay, and pesto is again very very good for people with IBS. Basil is very very good, very nutritious. Must use a lot of basil. So I've given this like a bashing, kind of a bashing, and little bit will go in now, and I am keeping back little bit for another recipe which I will show you. Okay, so this goes in, give it a mix. nicely and gently. And green peas will go in now. Oh, there's my spoon. I was wondering where I've kept it. Okay. So, peas is going in now. In with that. And now the pesto. Okay. Homemade pesto, as I told you, it's no rocket science, very easy to make. And things that can be done and stored, I feel when you have the time and when you do have the inclination, go ahead and do it, because it will make your life easier. And why buy something so simple from a store? I mean, it really doesn't make sense. You know, to buy it from a store, and of course store bought will have a lot of preservatives. Why do we need to do all that when we can make it so easily at home? Okay. The fumes of the basil. Transported to Italy. Traveling without traveling. How nice is that? Okay, so tapioca in. So I am putting quite enough for one person. This I will keep back little bit to show you another recipe. Little bit I've kept back, okay? This much I will keep back. Enough. Give it a nice toss. See how nice and squishy it is now. See the colors I'll show you. Oh, it's so pretty. Green. Automatically when you see something so nice and green on in your pan, no, you know it's going to do good to you. You know it's going to be, you know, your body is going to be happy when it goes inside. See how pretty it's looking. I'll just show you. See? Little pearls of tapioca all coated in green. What a pretty picture. Little bit of peanuts, you know, trying to peep out. Isn't it pretty? Okay, so at this point now, just a tad bit of water in so that it doesn't become absolutely dry. First, of course, my cheat, the spinach puree, which I am going to put, and it will become bright and green, greener still. Okay. So now, as I told you, spinach has a very neutral taste. It doesn't really have a very strong flavor or anything. So when we are putting in this, it doesn't, you know, people won't even get to know. This I have to do for my nieces and my son a lot, because they get into this frenzy. Oh, everything, there's spinach in everything. They don't understand it's good for them. But I guess they will after a certain age. Everybody realizes what's good and what's not good for their bodies. See, doesn't make a difference really, and it does elevate that dish. It gives it that kick of vitamin which the tapioca lacks. Good. So little tad bit of water, just a tablespoon, so that the steam will remain in the pan, and it will make the tapioca, it will keep the tapioca nice and succulent and soft. We don't want it drying up. So this tapioca, pesto di tapioca is ready. So we keep it covered for like around 5 minutes. And now for the surprise recipe. So what I will do is, I will put this on the back burner, I think. Okay. Because it will need just 2 minutes. Not much, because the tapioca is already almost cooked. So we don't need to do much to it. Just a little bit. You know, warming up from inside. That's the only thing it requires. So let it be there covered for 2-3 minutes. And now talking about tapioca, so 2-3 things you can do. I'm going to show you one recipe where I'm going to make fritters. So these fritters, again, you can make them, put a foil on a plate, or you know, you can put cling film on a plate. Put these fritters and put it in your deep freezer. It will last up to a week. Nothing happens to it. Take it out, shallow fry it, or put it in your air fryer, or you can deep fry it also, and you're good to go. It's a snack. Again, you can make a very nice. I told you about the chocolate shakes. That is the third recipe. I told you about the upma. That is the fourth recipe. I told you can make a paste out of it and make pancakes, dosas. That's the sixth. The seventh is a kheer, a nice, sweet, yummy kheer. So what we do is we take the soaked tapioca and we take a glass of milk, whole milk, full fat whole milk. Okay, and you put it in a pan on a sim, absolutely on a low. Put the milk, put the tapioca, put sugar according to the sweetness that you like it to be. I don't like it very sweet also, so put jaggery or sugar according to that. Put that and keep stirring one direction whenever you're using dairy. I told you one direction. So keep stirring, and you'll see, because the tapioca is so starchy, the milk will within say 4 to 5 minutes of it boiling, it thickens up and it becomes like a porridge. And you put a whole lot of nuts in it. You just slice almonds, put raisins, put cashew nuts all chopped up, put it in that, put a few strands of saffron, cover it, leave it for 2-3 minutes, and your kheer is ready. It's yum. It's to die for. Just try it. Okay, so it's been 2 minutes. Now we switch off the fire below the pan of the tapioca and let it rest for 5 to 7 minutes. And then we'll open it to see what is become of it. And now for the fritters. So the fritters I will show you. So the leftover tapioca here, I've got it with me. Okay, now what I will do is, it's all squishy as it is. Now what you do is you put the rest of the peanuts which we had crushed and kept back. So you put the rest of the peanuts, that goes in. Okay. Green chilies which we had kept back goes in. Again, optional. Please do not use it if you don't want to. IBD, IBS patients, anybody with intestinal problems, chili should be avoided. Like, just avoid it. Red chili, green chili, no. Pepper you can use. Okay, so go ahead and use pepper if you want to. A few coriander leaves will go into this also. So little bit of coriander leaves going in, and the remaining ginger, grated ginger that we had. So I had pre-prepared. So I had kind of grated and all that extra, so that I can show you this recipe also. And a few mint leaves which I did use for our mojito. So 1 or 2 I'm going to keep back for garnishing. See, a pretty one and keep back for garnishing. Okay, and the rest I will tear up and use in this fritter. Any herb again you can use, but normally mint and coriander is a match made in heaven. So they go very well as in terms of flavor and matching the flavor profiles. So coriander and mint going in, and of course salt to taste. Okay, and we will keep this aside and I will show you. I had potatoes which were boiled, and this is another one thing which I always make sure I have in my fridge, boiled potatoes. So the moment I use the last one, I take a batch and I boil it again and I keep it in the fridge. Nothing happens to it for 3 to 4 days, and it's a very handy ingredient. Just take it out and make anything, make fritters, make toasters, make parathas out of it, anything you can make out of, make fries out of it. Another thing, now that we are talking about fries, so we are grating these boiled potatoes. I have taken 2 medium sized. So fries. Now fries, again, it's a very it's a myth to what people have kind of come to understand, and they believe in it now, that potatoes make you fat. Okay, let me just bust this bubble once and for all. Vegetables don't make you fat. It's the way you cook the vegetables that make you fat. So if you're taking like a raw potato and cutting it into strips and dunking it in oil and going on and on and on and on, deep frying it, and it's going on soaking up all that refined oil, obviously it's going to make you fat. Okay, so people do love fries. I won't lie, even I love fries, but I don't have those oily deep fried ones. What I do is, even if you want to deep fry it, I'll give you a very nice tip and trick how to make nice crunchy French fries without the potato like soaking in all the oil and becoming like a bowl of dead carbs inside you, fat inside you. So what we do is, we take the potatoes and we parboil it. Okay, once they are parboiled, meaning it should not be absolutely mushy, but just parboil the potatoes, take it out, let it cool down, and let the potatoes cool down and cut it into your French fry strips or fingers. Okay, once they are cool and you've cut them, put it in the fridge for say 10 to 15 minutes. So they will cool down and they'll become a little hard. Take it out, dust it with rice flour. I do not recommend white flour, but I use rice flour personally. But if you do have if you don't have rice flour and if you have white flour, go ahead and dust it with that, or you can alternately dust it with cornstarch also. So either any one of them. Okay, so you can dust it with rice flour, you can dust it with corn starch, or you can dust it with white flour. So once you dust that, give it a nice toss, put all your herbs, whatever you want to, thyme, you want to put oregano and garlic powder, salt, anything that you want, all the masala. So put that, give it a toss, and again, if you want to deep fry those, heat up the oil to like a really, like almost to a when it starts smoking, to a smoking point. Just keep putting it in batches. So you cannot put all the fries together because they are from the fridge. So what will happen is the temperature of the oil will drop down and make it soggy. So put a small batch one at a time, and you'll see just about immediately it will start frying up, and it doesn't soak in the oil because of that coating of white flour or rice flour on it, and it becomes so crunchy and it's so tasty, I can't tell you. So just keep frying, taking it out. Alternately, you could, while you're dusting it with the cornstarch or the maida or the rice flour, drizzle a little oil, give it a toss, and put it in the oven. So you can bake it. Again, toss it with the oil and all your herbs and everything, and put it in the air fryer. So you can do that also. Or alternately, you can shallow fry them also. But I would suggest shallow frying will take away the the integrity of the fries. It won't be as crunchy. So try and use these three methods. Either just dunk it, keep dunking it in hot oil in small batches, and immediately you have to just dunk it. Within a minute, take it out, so it won't drink up oil and it will become super crunchy. Or put it in the oven or put it in the air fryer. So it will be as crunchy, and then you see those fries, and at least you're not making yourself sick with all that refined oil going inside you. Good. So do try these fries. So vegetables don't make us fat. It's the way we cook the vegetables that make us fat. Okay. And enjoy your food. If you keep thinking, and at the back of your mind, if you have that thing that, oh, I'm eating this is fattening, okay, still let me eat one bite. That will definitely harm you. So enjoy your food, love your food, be thankful for that food that you're receiving. Avoid, processed junk food, and have wholesome home cooked good food. You can't go wrong with that. Nothing will happen to you, and of course, burning a few calories and going for a walk, doing your yoga, or just running on in a garden or a treadmill, or any kind of form of physical exercise always does help. So these are a few things which we should keep in mind, and enjoy your food, eat whatever you want. So the grated potatoes are going to be mixed with the tapioca and green chilies and ginger, coriander, salt, mint. For this you have to use your hand, so it will become like a dough. Okay, can you see? Yeah, so it does become like a dough, and peanuts we've put, so it does become like a nice soft dough. So you mix everything thoroughly. See, this is what exactly these fritters are eaten when we are fasting in India. Sabudana vada it's called. And we eat it a lot in India when we are on a fast. Hinduism has certain days which people fast for religious beliefs, or I feel religious beliefs is just a way to say that let's keep ourselves healthy. So once in a while, if you're fasting and if you're concentrating on liquids and to rehydrate yourself, it does detoxify. You have a lot of fruits. We are allowed fruits. We are allowed to have dry fruits, nuts, everything which is detoxifying and cleansing for your body. So it's basically a process of cleansing your body and your soul. Right? So see, it's become like a dough now. Okay? So now what we do is pan on. So I'm just showing you one fritter, and similarly you can make all the fritters and immediately have it, or you can freeze it and keep it for later use also. I told you it will stay in the freezer for a good week. Nothing will happen to it. So if you have children at home, and if you are working, and if you are busy, and if your children want to munch something, instead of giving them packaged chips or whatever, go in for these kind of things. They're nicer. So what we do is we just take a tad bit of oil on our palm, so that, because as I told you, tapioca is very, very starchy, so it has a tendency to stick. So a little bit of oil so that we can give it a nice shape. Little bit of oil, and we do take the mixture, handful of it, like so, and now you give it whatever shape you want. Okay, so you give it whatever shape you want and freeze away, or use it immediately. So the shape that I'm going to be trying today is for all my lovely people who join in and give us so much of love. So that's my way of saying thank you from my heart to yours. That goes onto the pan. Sizzle. Music to my ears, as I said. Okay. So now, once that, you'll give me a minute, I'll just wash up and come. Clean. Always keep yourself clean. Keep the environment clean. Keep wiping as we go, so that nothing is dirty. Okay, done. So a tad bit of oil, just a drizzle, so that's it. And it will, the gas is on a low, so that it can cook and become nice and golden brown. Yum. I just love these fritters. Love is the word, and once you make it, you'll get addicted. I promise you. They are so tasty, and they are addictive. They are really addictive. They are yummy, super delicious. My son loves it. I love it. My mom loves it. So my heart is cooking away. Can you see how pretty it's looking? So while that's cooking, now let's do a little shifting again. So this can go to the back burner, and my pesto di tapioca for you can come right in front. Okay, so we just do the switching bit now. So this is going at the back. Let it keep cooking slowly on a low flame. Pesto di tapioca is back for my lovely people. Okay, so time for it to just take a look. Done. See, just see the greenery. Have you seen how pretty it's looking? And to make it even more prettier, we do put in all the coriander leaves. Garnish, garnish, garnish. Okay. And the spring onions. Garnish, garnish, garnish. And ta-da! Should we plate it up and see once? Okay. So, a bit of... Ooh. See, it's like little pearls. See how pretty it looks. No? Little pearls of happiness. Starchy and gooey. Yum. And all the recipes that I spoke about, be it pancakes, be it the the fritters that I just told you, the kheer that I told you about, all these lovely recipes, the chocolate shake I told you about, it's to die for. Really, I'm telling you, this is one ingredient that is not explored as much. So please do go ahead and try all these recipes and you'll be delighted to bits, I promise you. Okay, so taste. Hot, hot. The flavor, I'm telling you, is to die for. You will bless me. Okay, dinner done. My fritters I will show you also. And the mint chutney, remember I spoke about the coriander and the mint and the ginger, onion, cumin seeds. Put that, blend it, make it into a chutney and keep it away. Serve this with that chutney, these fritters. Or of course ketchup is. So either or. See, golden brown and pretty. And it's yum. Okay, you can put a little bit of the chaat masala mix that I had spoken about in the recipes. So you could use that on top. It will make it even more tangy and nice. And that's it. And the last but not the least, my watermelon mojito glass. Watermelon, mint, lime juice, sugar and salt. Ooh, see the color. This is by far in the whole entire wide world my most favorite color. I love red. I just love red. And this red, ooh, have you seen the color? So today are the colors of Italy. Red, green and white with the tapioca. Served. Enjoy. Have a great day. Do try the recipes. Write into me. Tell me what else I can do for you. And I'll see you tomorrow with a new recipe. Bye.